¿Cómo tú manejas ese tema cuando estás trabajando con artistas grandes? Me explico. Eso que tú muy bien dices, ese approach de no siempre lo que funciona es lo que va a funcionar ahora.
Well, that's never easy.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't start out easy. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're in a place where you're like, okay, well, they've had 5 number ones. You know, they've worked with so and so and so and so, and they do this every single day.
Johnny, ¿y cómo se da la colaboración con Juan Luis Guerra por el tema y disco que ustedes trabajaron que ganaron Grammy?
Dude, so at some point, either Mao or Ricky, one of them, hit up Dav. You know, it was like, yo, my dad's gonna be working on an album, and I think you guys should work with him. And he was like, and then so we arranged like a week to work with him. And in that week, it was me, my brother, and Camilo basically writing pretty much every day.
¿Cuándo fue tu primer break que tú dices, esta fue mi primera oportunidad que I took it and it changed my career somehow?
When we did Por Perro, that was a big hit. That was a game changer for us because, at least for me, I had gone into about, I want to say like maybe a year and a half, 2 years of not really even feeling that inspired or feeling like I wanted to really continue to do music in the Latin industry. And then Despacito happened, you know, because music feeds your soul, it feeds your spirit. It's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
These guys probably not going to go to church or try to seek me anytime soon. I still care so much about them that here is like, let me feed your soul to music, you know?
Saludos mi gente, bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de El Negocio del Entretenimiento Podcast. Yo soy Jafet Santiago, me consigues en las redes como Jafo Santiago. Búscame en Instagram, Jafo Santiago, ¿ok? Antes que empecemos, dale a la campanita, suscríbete a este canal Sparkof TV, ¿ok? Sparkof TV, el único canal que es menos farándula, más industria. Aquí vas a conocer historias de grandes productores, manejadores, promotores de espectáculos, directores de cine, todo lo que tiene que ver con la industria del entretenimiento. Aquí tú vas a conocer la carrera de estas personas y vas a aprender bastante, ¿ok? Quiero hoy presentar a un pana que tengo el privilegio de conocer hace muchos años. Hemos colaborado juntos, en un momento dado trabajamos con Fifth Manager de él, con otro grupo de gente. Uno de los productores más duros que tiene la industria latina. Te voy a leer algunas de las cosas de esta persona para que ustedes tengan idea de con quién estamos hablando. Ha trabajado, con artistas tales como Raúl Alejandro, Camilo, Alejandro Sanz, Mark Anthony, Manuel Turizo, Sebastián Yatra, 070 Shake, Danny Ocean, J Balvin, Ricky Martin, Fade, Jason Derulo, Amigos Invisibles, Eladio Carrión, Farruko, Juan Luis Guerra, Justin Quiles, Mau y Ricky, Sima Funk, Henry, Emilia, just to name a few. Algunos de los palos con los que ha sido compositor o productor: Por Perro de Sebastián Yatra, que tiene un poco more or less sobre 616 millones de streams, de views en YouTube, más de 320 millones de streams en Spotify. Fue productor y compositor. Machu Picchu, que es un tema que ya es platino, de Camilo y Eva Luna, 87 millones de views en YouTube, 163 millones de streams en Spotify. Fue compositor de ese tema. TBT, que estuvo número 1 en Billboard Latin Pop Airplay, certificado oro, de Sebastián Yatra, Raúl Alejandro, Manuel Turizo. Esta persona que está aquí hoy con nosotros fue productor y compositor. Deja que te bese, de Alejandro Sanz y Mark Anthony, fue productor. Por mencionar solo algunas de las cosas, Talk Dirty, la versión en español de Jason Derulo y Two Chainz. Esta persona que está aquí con nosotros también fue uno de los compositores de esa versión. Sin más preámbulos, ganador de 2 Latin Grammys, ¿ok? En el 2021 por Best Alternative Song, Tóquemela, de Amigos Invisibles, y en el 2019 Best Tropical Song, Así Dios lo quiso, por Ricardo Montaner y Juan Luis Guerra. Ha sido nominado en más de 5 ocasiones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ocasiones, y ha sido nominado en 4 ocasiones para el Grammy americano. Sin más preámbulo, uno de los productores más duros que tiene la industria, para quien pido un fuerte aplauso aquí en el estudio, Johnny Palace, Julca. Johnny, how you doing?
What's good, bro?
Dude, I love you. Miss you. All good?
Likewise, bro. Dude, relaxing, chilling, living life, happy. So,
I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best with this interview. Se supone que en español. Conociéndote a ti, you're gonna answer in English 90% of the things. So vamos a tratar de hacer este Spanglish podcast version.
Va a ser bien Spanglish, for sure.
Definitely. Yo le digo a mis panas que no, a veces hablo así acá. Es como que, bro, that's our language in Miami with everybody. Johnny, where you at? ¿Dónde tú estás ahora mismo, papi? Viviendo. Miami, basado en Miami.
Yeah, straight up, yeah. Miami's home.
Yeah.
I love this place. Yeah, I have so much history in this place, in this city.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Bro, peruano, tus papás peruanos, born in Panama, raised in Ohio, and adopted in Miami, more or less.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Does that make sense? Hoy por hoy, man, tú eres de esos tipos que, if you say Miami, you have to think about Johnny Palace as a music writer, music producer. You're one of the faces of Miami. That's to be just quite honest in terms of who I'm talking to. So, how do you feel, man, about that?
It's funny. It's like como que todavía, I feel like it doesn't matter how much you grow in your industry, for some reason. For me, I still feel like I'm trying to make it. You know what I mean? So it's, I can definitely realize now that yeah, I mean, what you're saying is true in a way. A lot of people when they come to Miami, they think of me or working with me and stuff like that, but I'm just still like an 18-year-old kid trying to make it in the music industry. So it feels kind of funny.
Súper interesante, man. Bro, muchas veces la gente ve o escucha estos créditos, ¿no? De que con quienes has trabajado y has tenido esa oportunidad. Pero los caminos no son color de rosa. Y everybody pays, como dicen, their dues, ¿verdad? Como que todo el mundo tiene que pagar un precio para estar donde están. Cuando tú llegas a Estados Unidos, que estás con toda la parte... estás en Ohio, no estás en Miami, ni New York, ni California, donde hay tal vez una cultura latina bastante presente. Tú entras a un sitio donde están puros blanquitos, por decirlo americanos, full gringo, te adaptas, adoptas esa cultura, y yo creo que eso te hace, desde el punto de vista de productor, te hace tener como lo mejor de los dos mundos, ¿no? Piensa muy gringo para unas cosas y muy latino para otras cosas. ¿Cómo tú describes la forma tuya de producir, ¿sabes? Si tú pudieras describirte a ti mismo como que, what's your magic?
Well, I don't really know, and I hope to never know, because I love the mystery of discovering, Pero I feel like it's something about being Peruvian, Panamanian, raised in Ohio, living in Miami. There's a lot of adaptation that happens. So you learn to adapt. So if you're in a room con un montón de salseros, so then you're a salsa producer. You know what I mean? With a little bit of, your essence. If you are in a room full of country singers, then you're country musician, artist, or, producer or whatever. If you're in a room with a bunch of reggaetoneros, you do reggaeton. You know what I mean? So I think like for me, like one of the things that I enjoy is like if I could say my style is eclectic, and very embracer of whatever is happening in my surroundings, so I always, I bring ideas to the table, of course, like I'm constantly thinking of things, but I also feed off a lot of what's happening in that moment, what the artist is saying, what his vibe is, where I think he could potentially go towards, and then I mix that with what I kind of bring to the table. So I think my style is embracive and adapting constantly.
Interesante ese punto de vista. Ahora que tú dices, básicamente es como esa humildad desde el punto de vista de persona para poder mantenerte siendo vigente y relevante, porque todo cambia, y más la música cambia mucho.
I never think like, hey, you know what, this worked before, so let's do this again. Like of course I have things like that in the back of my head as far as like experience. I think that's things that work. You things that don't work. They're added to like your bag of experience. But just because it worked once, it doesn't mean that it's gonna work ever again. You know what I mean? So that whole aspect of adapting keeps its creativity always just flowing. Always just fresh. So.
Si te pregunto, ¿cómo tú manejas? Because you've worked with so many big names, and obviously in this world, you and I know, and probably most of the people in the industry knows that a lot of ego is always somehow present, ¿Cómo tú manejas ese tema cuando estás trabajando con artistas grandes? Me explico. Eso que tú muy bien dices, ese approach de no siempre lo que funciona es lo que va a funcionar ahora. Y cómo tú cuando tienes artistas que podrían intimidar hasta cierto punto de tú entrar al estudio con ellos a meterle y tú traer tu idea, ¿cómo tú manejas esa parte donde tú quieres presentarle a estos big players? Y te hago esta pregunta porque hay muchos artistas o mucho productor joven o compositor joven que tienen esos miedos, ¿no? Como que, ¿cómo le digo a este pana que lo que está haciendo a lo mejor no está off, tú sabes, o no se oye relevante? ¿Cómo tú lo has manejado? ¿Cuál ha sido tu fórmula de decir, man, why don't you do this?
Well, that's never easy.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't start out easy. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're in a place where you're like, okay, well, they've had 5 number ones. They've worked with so and so and so and so, and they do this every single day. So, and then they know they have the data or feedback that they receive about their own work, and they clearly know what works or doesn't in a way, for them. But I also think like you also have to think that like they're also in a search. I mean, they also have their doubts, just because again something worked 5 times that they had 5 number ones. There's so many variables to that. There's teams, marketing, radio promoters. There's so much behind it that it hardly ever even is about the fucking song. Sorry.
Sometimes, yeah.
Right. So, so the moment you start thinking like that, there's so many variables, that, could bring so much success to an artist. It kind of, when it comes to the creative part of it, you just got to think that they're also on the search, and when you think it like that, then it's a little bit more like you're on the same plane, so proposing your ideas becomes a little bit more a little bit less frightening in a way. You know, it's a little more like, you know, two little kids playing. You know what I mean? And like, hey, I have this toy and I have this toy. What do you think about this toy? Well, this toy is kind of cooler, but no, I think this toy is cooler. And actually, I like your toy better. You know, why don't we play with your toy better? You know what I mean? So it kind of, at least in a way for me, is a little bit like that, you know? And then also, I mean, you just have to grow very thick skin and know and not take things personal, you know? So you could have the most incredible track, you know, the most amazing idea. You could have the most incredible writers in the room. And all of a sudden somebody says something, plays something, and then it just has a vibe that you can't explain. And you got to trust that.
Yeah.
You know, you got to trust what it feels like, you know, even if you have the most incredible things, you know, to create something or that you've already created, you know, it may sound mixed and mastered already. It just like sounds incredible. But if the vibe is on una guitarra and, you know, one taggy line, then that's what it is. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot of like dealing with other people's egos has a lot to do with you dealing with your own ego.
Yeah,
to begin with.
for sure.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, again, it's not easy and it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of like, you know, risky moments. You know, I've definitely said like, yo, what do you think about this? And everybody's like, that doesn't sound that cool. And I've got my little heart hurt because I was like, oh, fuck, nobody cared. And I'm like, well, no, it's not that nobody cared. It's just that like somebody else had another idea that was cool. And I could have added to that idea as opposed to feeling like nobody cared about my idea. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a lot of that, man. It's a lot of you dealing with your own ego, you know, not taking things personal. And just the worst thing that you could ever do is just not say something, you know, not present something and run that risk of looking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because maybe your ridiculous idea
might work.
Ridiculously acceptable. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Where do you get your... te pregunto, ¿dónde tú... Cuando tú estás en ese proceso, ¿dónde tú coges la musa? For example, porque like your work, it's not like un contable. It's like una planilla 1 + 1 = 2, like math.
Claro.
It's like you can be whatever and shit, this idea, pam. O sea, ¿dónde tú tienes tu musa para crear?
Man, literalmente de cualquier vaina. O sea, pues literalmente puede ser una película, alguien dijo algo, mi hijo lo escuché cantando algo. Like, dude, it can be like literally anything. A song that I just heard, a new synth that I got, you know, new drum samples that I got. O sea, puede ser literalmente de cualquier vaina.
¿Tienes algún tema
Cualquier.
¿Tienes algún tema de esos que han sido populares que haya salido así súper de la manera más random ever? Como que, man, por ejemplo, no sé, algún tema que, popular song or something that...
Well, yeah, I mean, all of them.
Just an example for...
example, when, no sé, when we wrote DVD, it was me, Daf, Yatra, and Sech, and we're in the studio, just literalmente jodiendo. O sea, literalmente 100% jodiendo. O sea, no había como que... mira, es más, cuando nos metimos al estudio con ellos, yo tenía unos beats que dije, coño, this would be pretty cool, you know? I had like a drum loop. I made a drum loop. Y Seth was like, yo, that sounds really cool. Pero nada más lupea estas 2 barras. O sea, literalmente solamente lupea esto. Y yo tengo que coño. No, o sea, I mean, yeah, pero, you know, whatever, you know, like I made this whole thing. And we literally just used like a bar. O sea, literalmente, no creo que ni siquiera era 2 bars, not nothing. And then Daf just started playing guitar. Like, he just started playing like this chord progression. O sea, como que immediately. Y ya, de ahí salió toda la canción. O sea, so, you know, it was just like a little snippet of something. Danny Ocean did the same thing where I sent him this whole beat, you know, o sea, que inspiré una vaina que quería hacer como que Tame Impala meets, like, coño, no me acuerdo, like Tame Impala meets, like, Daft Punk meets, like,
Johnny's World.
I sent it to him, and then he sent me an idea back. And when he sent me the idea, I noticed that he only used like a bar of something, and he just looped that and made a whole song on top of that. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? You know, he was like, dude, I was super fucking high, and me quedé como bloqueado, and just that one little section, and I wrote a song on top of that. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, I think at that time I was listening to a lot of Tame Impala. So, I was inspired, you know, by the desert and by, you know, the sounds that sounded so spacious and like big, you know. And I made that, and then he only used like a little section of it.
Bro, ¿cuándo fue tu primer break que tú dices, esta fue mi primera oportunidad que I took it and it changed my career somehow? It doesn't have to be the biggest moment changer, but like you can pinpoint maybe a couple of projects that you work on that were game changers for your career. Can you name a few?
Yeah, I mean, dude, we lived through some of that.
Yeah.
We, in hindsight, that the album, you know, was not anything big or anything like that, you know, like it really was an introduction. I learned a lot from that, you know. Obviously, like I learned how to manage, you know, everything, you know, time, work, songs, you know, like we basically A&R to that, me and my brother. So we learned that, you know, we learned how to deal with it. We learned so much, you know. That project was an eye opener to a lot that obviously down the road we managed better, you know, with each opportunity. So I think that was really big. I think when we did Por Perro, that was a big hit. That was a game changer for us because, at least for me, I had gone for like into like about, I want to say like maybe a year and a half, 2 years of not really even feeling that inspired or feeling like I wanted to really continue to do music in the Latin industry. And then Despacito happened. And then that was like huge. And when we did Por Perro, it was definitely like a moment where we were like, hey, let's try this again. You know, let's see if we want to keep producing, you know. And then we did that song, and, you know, that kind of, I want to say like it sparked a lot of fire, you know, in me to continue, you know, producing, you know, because at one point I didn't even think I wanted to produce anymore and like write or anything like that. I don't have anything to do in the music industry because at that point we had already done so much that, you know, I just, no sé, como que se convirtió un poquito medio monótono, you know. So that definitely sparked a lot of life, fire. So those, I want to say, probably a game changer. I think for me, very recently, I would say last year, I began to work with a lot of up and coming artists, and, you know, I kind of took a bit of a step back in the constant chase of like that big song, you know, to honing in a lot of who I am and what I can bring to the table. You know what I mean? And some of the projects that I worked on last year were game changers for me because it helped me transition, I think, to the producer that I am now. You know, where, you know, I'm like a lot more just, I'm not necessarily chasing that big, the platinum, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm chasing more making a difference in people's lives, really. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it kind of has gone with impacting the life of new artists, that are coming in and they're, have a lot to learn. They're hungry for learning, hungry for creating, and they also have a voice that they want to, hey, I want to sing about this. I want to talk about this. I want to, I don't know. I identify myself a lot with them. So that's been a game changer for me. I would say those three. I mean, every opportunity is a game changing opportunity, but
yeah, those three are special, yeah. Yeah, because te lleva para otra esquina, ¿no? Como que para donde vamos. Que sale el de Pagan, me acuerdo grandemente porque we worked that album together and it was like nobody expected anything from anybody. So that was pretty cool. I like those kind of challenges. And we nailed it. So yeah. Johnny, the creative side is definitely your world and all the writers' world and todos los productores y todo eso. But the business side is also as important as it is the creative side. And it's sometimes very challenging and hard. What's the hardest part of being a creative person in a creative industry, but you have to deal with the freaking business each and every day, each and every song? So what's the hardest part?
I think the hardest part is not accepting that the music business is literally called the music business as opposed to the music friends or the music songs, the music fun. It's really called
music business. That's it. Simple.
Is not accepting that, So, cuando no sé qué, cuando está llorando, cuando está como que what the fuck, it's like, yo, you're doing business.
Exactly. Right.
Literally, it's called the basic business. So, yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, not wanting to embrace that, because the minute that you do embrace it, then you're like, oh, shit. You don't take things personal, first of all, you're more secure, on yourself and your business and your mentality, what you want to do, what you say yes to, what you say no to, etc. And in the process, you learn how to play the game. I mean, it's a game. Every day you wake up, you're going to battle. Not just in the music industry, but I guess that's like your personal life. Like every day you wake up and you decide, okay, I'm going to battle today. So I think once you embrace that, then you learn to play the game and to just do better business. And then sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you gotta lose to win. And sometimes you gotta win at all costs. So
no matter what.
In the process, in the process you become wiser, and that's how like people do business.
Al final del día es eso, es un camino.
Yeah.
Es un camino.
Yeah.
Y como dijimos al principio, hay un precio que pagar y hoy tú puedes estar en una posición porque has cogido esos golpes y has caminado. Tú vienes de tocar en vivo, eres compositor, eres productor. De esos tres, ¿cuál es el que más te gusta a ti?
I like the creating aspect. I know you didn't even mention that, but like, but there is creation, in each one of those. I love producing because you're creating. I love writing because you're creating too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Play live, you never know what's gonna happen. So there's like a sense of excitement of like do your thing, and then you see right away how people react to to what you're creating in that moment. So it's hard. I really like.
Yeah.
I really love all of them. But if I could only do one, I guess that would be how I would decide is probably producing. I definitely love the production aspect of everything, from the creating aspect of it to the more like psychological aspect of it too.
When you say psychological aspect, you mean like you are alone on your own sometimes? Because producing is like you get into this cave sometimes, like todo se vuelve una cueva y
Right. Well, no, I meant it more in the sense of like there's a whole psychology behind production, behind
Gotcha.
creating songs, how getting in the mind of the artist and how can we translate that into like connecting with
the audience. Yeah,
the audience.
yeah.
So that's mostly what I meant by that.
Man, and let me ask you this: music has changed a lot. Definitely, urban music has changed everything. Um, how do you feel about that? Like, quite honest, like before, you had to do this como música, tú tenías que crear esta música donde tenía que tener como estrofa, precoros, coro. And now it's different. Now it's like super short sometimes. Dura 1.5 minutos, TikTok, lo que se está pegando. So how do you feel about that? Those changes across the board in the industry?
I mean, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? Like I think change is inevitable. You know what I mean? So like there's something that you just mentioned several times. It's like change.
Yeah.
Right. And when it comes to change, I think change is great.
Yeah.
It's sometimes scary for me. I think it's scary for everybody. But I would say I think I know what you're referring to, and it's like how I don't want to use the word quality, but like,
yeah, that's I'm gonna say it. When I ask this, is about that. Porque es como que,
right, okay,
yeah. You feel me?
To be honest, like I can recognize talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think it, and I'm gonna use people that I know. Like Fade. Man up. He doesn't sing like Adele.
Yeah.
Right. But the motherfucker can write shit that connects with people. You know what I mean? Like you hear one of his songs, está cantando, porque and something about it, feels like something. Bad Bunny doesn't sing like Sam Smith, but by not like all the songs, it connects. So I look at music like that. To me, if I want to listen to freaking the most talented singer in the world, or the most talented singers in the world, like then I listen to Sam Smith or Adele, like Bruno Mars. If I want to listen to, basic shit, then I'll listen to Bad Bunny. I mean, that is as basic as it gets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's magic in all of that. You know what I mean? To me, like to me, it's not like one's better, like more. I mean, there is more talent, obviously, in somebody that sings. That's trained their entire life to sing, or that has a natural talent. And I can recognize that compared to, somebody that, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't expect it to be like, oh, no, you can't put out music because you don't sing like this. Like, you can't do that, It's like, you can tell people, like, if you don't like it, just listen to something else. You know what I mean?
The funny part is that it's people at the end of the day who consumes the music and the content, and
right.
If they're consuming that, let me ask you this: when you produce or create, are you thinking about what the mass consumption is, or are you just thinking from a creative standpoint, no matter what the end consumer is?
Honestly, both. To a certain extent, I think. I think I would not be a great producer if I wasn't thinking about both of them. You know what I mean? I don't think. I mean, that's part of your job to produce. Like you produce events.
Yeah.
You're thinking about selling tickets. I mean, you're thinking about like
what I like.
Yeah, exactly. Like you, but at the same time, I'm sure that you're thinking a lot about how people are going to feel when they go to the event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how they're going to feel and react to X, Y, and Z. So then they, buy an extra drink.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So it's very similar, to me, like producing a song. I'm thinking like I really care about the message that's being sent in a way, whether that is dale hasta abajo toda la noche, blah, 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 or, it's a heartbreak song. Um, but, I, but, part of my job is that connects with a large audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm thinking of both,
I know.
truthfully.
Man, tu primer Grammy llega luego de, 20 years in the industry, more or less?
Coño, ojalá, pero no.
I don't remember. I'm just asking.
No, I mean, I've been doing music my whole life, so I look like
I know.
But I feel like
10 years?
maybe like 10 years.
Since you arrived to Miami. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in Miami for 13 years, and I would say in the music industry, like professionally working, it's been probably like 10 years. I think the first two years, or maybe 12 years, man, because I think it only really took us about a year or two to like get. Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Yeah, because Pagan's album was at 2011, actually 2011. Yeah, I remember. 2011 fue 12,
13 years.
12, yeah, 12, 13 years more or less. Pero you are you're the family guy. You have your Shiloh, your son. You've been working with them. They were like como que una familia Dav. Your mom, your dad, very close people. How does your family environment in church? Because I've had a lot of people here that vienen de iglesia. A lot of producers, So how do you think your childhood helps you right now in dealing with artists and the industry, Like, ¿cómo te ayudó eso en tu base que te enseñó tu familia, no?
Man, I think more than anything, it helped having a feeling of like embracing. You know what I mean? Like it for me, it's like easy to, I don't know, to like for there to be comfort, and like working or sharing ideas or, creating, period. So I think my parents were I watched them at church be very loving and inclusive and embracive, I guess is a word. So that automatically made people feel very safe, So that's actually one of the things that I hear sometimes from people is that they feel safe in a way, to create with me, and I think that's probably the main way in which my upbringing had a lot, place in my career. That's one of the ones, you know what I mean? Also, because of my parents and us moving so much, I got to experience a lot of different cultures. So, since very little, I was exposed to, Mexicans, Argentinians, Puerto Ricans, people from, Africa, like Europe, like, you know what I mean? So that already made me feel like what was happening around me. It's like at a local, aspect, but like at a
global,
larger global thing. So I've always been in tune with that. I was very, very much been in tune with like a global view as opposed to like, very local.
Yo, Johnny, ¿y cómo se da la colaboración con Juan Luis Guerra por el tema y disco que ustedes trabajaron que ganaron Grammy?
Dude, so at some point, either Mao or Ricky, one of them, hit up Dav. It was like, yo, my dad's gonna be working on an album, and I think you guys should work with him. And he was like, And so we arranged like a week to work with him. And in that week, it was me, my brother, and Camilo basically writing pretty much every day. And then Montaner will come in like later into the session to hear what we were working on, and then he would help, finish writing the songs with us, and he would sing the songs, So we did maybe like, I want to say like 5 or 6 songs, maybe more. Maybe we did like 7 songs. One of those songs was the third song actually that we wrote was that song that's called Dios así lo quiso. So that song came together pretty quick. It was pretty fast. And when we were writing the song, we felt that it just sounded really nice. And it sounded very different from, what actually came out. And the demo of it was sang by Camilo. So it really was like mostly me, my brother, and Camilo that wrote the song. Actually, it was. So here's a crazy story. When we write the song, Camilo goes to me and Dad, and he's like, "Yo, I haven't told this to anybody. You're the first person that I'm telling this to.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask Eva Luna to marry me."
What?
Yeah. So he was like, and I want to do it with this song. This song is, beautiful, and I maybe I sing it with Montaner. I don't know, but like I kind of want this song, for me, and and we're like, oh, congratulated him, and he was like, I'm gonna have the conversation with Montaner para pedir la mano de Eva Luna, and like tomorrow or something, or like this weekend, and then we were supposed to work the following week, so. And then he was like, and then I asked him about the song, we're like, all right, cool. Anyway, so like the next week we get together and he said, guys, I gotta tell you about, like everything that happened. And we're like, yo, obviously, he said yes, obviously like it was all good. He was like, bro, had the conversation with him. I was so nervous, and, but all good, and he was like, but no me dio la canción.
Pero no te dio la canción. Ahí sale el TikTok Montaner.
So we're like, damn, okay, so he's gonna keep it song. All right, cool. This song, I guess we're going on the album. We turned all the songs in, Sparkof mix, but that song never got picked. But Montaner loved the song. I mean, he absolutely loved the song, but it didn't go on the album. We're like, oh, shoot, that sucks, because that's a really beautiful song. And then at some point, Montaner hinted at the fact that he still wanted the song and that he probably would get like a oportunidad on the song. Something like that. I don't know if he said that specifically, but like he hinted at having like a legend on the song.
Yeah.
And we went to Samana, to his house in the DR to write for the following album, and that trip was cool, but like there was only one song that we were part of that made it into the album. So, but then later on, Montaner just sent out an MP3, and we hit play, and it was
real.
Yeah, con and that was the first time that I ever did something like this. I asked Dad to send, to give me the song, and I sent it to my mom and my dad. Yeah, it's like the very first time that I was like, yo, I gotta send this to my parents. It's a stamp of like, you made it. You could obviously recognize, Montaner and Juan Luis Guerra. And yeah, I mean, then the song got nominated and they won a Grammy. Like, it was one of the craziest feelings, to hear your name and then hear what you worked on and, get a Grammy.
That's awesome.
Todas las vueltas que da las canciones a veces. You know what I mean? Like, it's so
random.
That song had been written maybe for like 2 years before it came out.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
wow.
A song is like a son or a daughter, more or less.
Yeah.
Cool. Son hijo tuyo. Oye, Johnny, now that you're a parent, obviously you've been around for so many years, working with a lot of the great artists de la industria. If you look at yourself, like back in the days, let's say 15 years ago, where you were just hustling, figuring out what to do or how to get into the industry, what advice can you give that young Johnny with your experience right now? Like if you look at yourself, looking 15 years younger, like if you look at yourself, ¿qué consejo te darías tú mismo a ti?
To believe in yourself, and just to know that you can do anything, and just believe that with everything in every fiber of every body, to like truly believe in yourself and believe that you can do anything. That sense of fearlessness, I think, really evokes courage and bravery. You know what I mean? But also evokes a lot. I think evokes a lot of like compassion and love. You know, for others. I don't think like assholes are not brave.
Yeah,
brave people are not assholes. So if you're brave, you're not gonna be a dick.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Simple as that.
You're gonna help people. Like brave people do that shit. So I think like believing in yourself is just the most wholesome, literally like thing that you can do, que abarca literalmente todo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't believe in yourself and not believe in like good shit. And you cannot have that like believe in yourself without loving yourself. And if you love yourself, man, like so many things that it's crazy. But like in the music industry, or like really any industry, in anything in life, I think there's so many variables that are touched by things that have to do with you personally. That to say, well, I did this because I had this Grammy, I had this #1, I had this and this and that. Yeah, those things happened, but like there's so many variables that are happening, that in the first Grammy that I got, I didn't even want to do that session. It was Luces.
Yeah, I know.
So I didn't even want to do that session. Dad hit me up and he was like, "Yo, I know it's Sunday, but Servando called me and he's like, yo, I really gotta get this song to so and so, blah 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 blah. It's a song for Amigo Invisibles, etc. 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 And I'm obviously like a big Amigo Invisibles fan, but like it was Sunday, I was home, like I did not want to do a session, And on top of that, I just kind of had this feeling of like who writes for Amigos Invisibles? I mean, they write their own shit. Like,
I'm gonna
give a fuck about this song. Like, o sea, como que I just saw it more like un jangueo, with, Servando and Silverio, who, I have a good time with all the time. But like, I didn't really believe, I went there super dejanado. I did the whole thing, como que, okay, fuck it, let's just do this thing. Obviously I had fun,
Yeah.
So it wasn't as bad as I'm putting it. And then they picked the song. Then they get nominated, and then we won. That was my first Grammy. You know what I mean? When that shit happened, I was like, yo, I need to reevaluate about myself.
Don't ever underestimate any opportunity. Yeah.
But Servando was just so persistent, dude, that like, they need this song and we got to do it together. And like, he just believed, man. Like, I'm just like, I'm giving you an example,
Yeah.
But like, that's what I would tell myself, Also, I would say that because I think I lacked a lot of that. There's other people that probably believe in themselves so much, and they probably have like some other shit that they got to deal with. You know what I mean? And then they would tell their 15-year-old self, something else. But in my case, I think believing in yourself is like the most wholesome, all around thing that you can possibly do. So that's what I would tell myself.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, Aki.
Okay.
If you have to pick one,
Okay.
David Foster, Rick Rubin.
Wait, Ruben.
No, hands down. That's so easy for you. No, I'm gonna change that. Yeah, Rick Rubin is freaking out of the planet. Okay, that's so good. Nunca falla ese tipo. Pero Foster, dude, is a beast.
No, of course.
Of course, yeah. Best rapper?
Best rapper?
What's your opinion? What's your best rapper? If you have to say this guy has it all.
Well, I think in terms of like ability and talent, dude, Eminem is a beast.
Eminem,
They haven't like who can rap?
I don't know, man. He's an alien.
Yeah,
That is an alien.
Like, in terms of ability, I'm not super crazy about his voice at all.
Yeah, but his talent,
His talent is insane. Like how he writes, rhymes. It's just So probably Eminem.
Out of this planet. Best rock band?
That's an impossible.
I guess you're a rocker. It gets more complicated.
Okay,
let me put it this way. Do you want to give an answer to that? I can change the question if you want me to.
Es que, actually, it's a great question because I've never thought about it.
Maybe not the best. It's not the best rock band because that's kind of complicated. But your favorite band might be something more realistic.
Did you know who I really like? Audioslave. I don't know that many people that would know them, but I think all around, like the writing, the guy's voice, just the rawness, like the band.
That's a great band. That's a great band. Coldplay or U2?
Oof, that's a tough one. I think for me it would probably be U2, but it's
close.
It's very close. Yeah, there are things that I think U2 for me it's more of a there's an emotional attachment to that.
Me too.
Because, porque si hay canciones of like Coldplay that I'm just like, wow, just I'm baffled, and like at the texture that the whole band has, not just the music, but like the way that it feels is pretty magical.
Yeah. Best reggaetonero?
Daddy Yankee, straight up. You can't really beat that guy. 30
years, dude, doing the same. That's freaking crazy.
I admire his career and him. I've never gotten to meet him.
No?
I've never met him. I've never worked with him. Like I have literally zero relationship to anything that has to do with him. And I've always just been I admire him a lot. Yeah.
And anything else that you want to say here?
Yo, yes.
Go for it.
All this shit about like the music industry and like all that stuff, I know that, this is very much, this whole thing was about that.
Yeah.
It's fun. Man, and it has to remain like that, The business aspect of it is fun because it's completely insane. O sea, yo me lo disfruto, literalmente, porque a veces me dicen cosas tan ridículas que I'm like, yo, I want to be that ridiculous. I wish I were that ridiculous. I don't know why I'm not that ridiculous. So, you know what I mean? It's just, it's funny. Like I don't even take it personal. I just like, I have fun with it, But as much as it is fun, every opportunity, like we have the opportunity to impact so much. What we do actually has a real crazy, almost immediate impact. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And there's so much power, there's so much power in every aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like now that I have a kid, there's something that I realize is that his grades, he does jujitsu, so he goes up, in belts and things like that. And I just noticed how his grades he obtains them every single day that he goes to school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he gets them at the end of a quarter or whatever, but like it's every single day, you know, that he has the opportunity to have a better grade. You know? The same way with your child, you know, o sea, a él le dan el nuevo cinturón después de, coño, I don't know, like 10 months, 12 months of like practicing, and it's every single day that you're doing that. Every single day you're getting that belt. You know, it's not como que because you won that you got a belt. It's just like every day's little winnings amount to that belt, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I see the music. That's how I see what I do, and this whole thing that we call the music industry is that you have an opportunity every single day, every single song, every single project to impact, you know, connect with somebody and like really make a difference for somebody. So I think while you are doing that, you're impacting your own life. So everything is just like this whole thing that kind of just like that. It's not so linear, you know what I mean? I keep talking about variables because I feel like everything has just so many things that are playing.
So many layers. Yeah.
To like achieve this one thing. You know what I mean? I remember I went to see this festival. I can't remember what it might have been 3 Points. I can't remember, but it was a festival many years ago. A friend of mine was performing Oseveno Shake. And I'm gonna get a little bit spiritual here, but like I remember being like on the side of the stage.
Okay.
And I could see everybody, you know, they probably might have been like, I don't know, 8,000 people, you know, in the crowd, 8, 10. And I could see in their faces, like, kind of like the same thing that I experience when I go to church and I see people in the crowd. You know, like their faces were just lit up. You know, you could tell that their souls and spirits were being fed.
Uh-huh.
You know? And that's what music is. You know what I mean? Like, and so in that moment, I experienced something that I've talked about this a few times. Like, I felt like the presence of God there.
Sure.
You know? And I thought to myself, how merciful is God that he probably knows that so many people are going to avoid him, or not going to find him, or that, like, who knows where they are in their walk in life. And he created music to feed souls, you know, because music feeds your soul, it feeds your spirit. It's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
So in that moment, that was like, I felt like I witnessed God's mercy and being like, yo, these guys are probably not going to go to church or try to seek me anytime soon. I still care so much about them that here's like, let me feed your soul to the music, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I guarantee you the promoter did not think about that shit.
Of course not.
I guarantee you that the people selling tickets did not think about that shit. I guarantee you that the band playing did not think about that shit. But they were all instruments of something like that. You know what I mean? So when I think about the music industry, when I think about music, that's what I think about so much, is the opportunities that we have, you know? And I think some of the greatest artists, you can tell that they are in tune with that. You know,
100%.
You know, like, you know, somebody that I admire a lot, like Ricky Martin, you know what I mean? Like an entertainer.
Yeah.
He's got to be thinking about how people feel when they are watching his show.
Yeah.
You can tell that he puts so much effort into his show because of that. You know what I mean? Por ende, you know, you make a lot of money and, you know, you feel good about yourself and, you know, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
so many things like that are working together. And I feel like if you're just, if you're mindful of that, you know, if you're aware of that, I think you can live a happier life, you know, and then 2, the impact that you make is bigger, you know, and there's no way that you're not impacting the world at a massive level without a large bank account. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. When you serve the masses, and lo que sea, when you serve the masses, you're going to get como remunerado por eso.
Yeah, you're getting paid.
That's it. And that's that's our calling, to serve others. That's
right.
Best businesses. Think about why Bezos is a trillionaire. Imagine your life without Amazon right now. You're just serving the whole planet.
Right.
Same thing with Elon Musk. Same thing with Mark Zuckerberg. Same thing with all these big entrepreneurs.
Right.
They just serve humanity
Right.
some way or the other. And because of what they built, Steve Jobs, what they lo que han construido, is what makes them so successful. Same thing with music. Regardless of you like it or not, they're serving a purpose. So actually, when you say unity, like this brand, Sparkof, cuando la construí, the people ask me, what's the meaning of Sparkof? And my goal is como que, actually, our mission is to promote the unity of the world through live entertainment and media content.
So cool.
That's it. And I was trying to figure out a name and to have a brand that que expresara what is to promote the unity. So
Right.
Spark off separated with 2F is like promover, promote. Spark off como, you know, spark plugs es como una chispa, spark como una chispa, pero spark off es como promover. Entonces, the first logo era una U y una N. So I just erased one F. I put O and F together. That's the brand. But by my idea and the way our company is built is around promoting the unity of the world. So what you and I are doing right now is nurturing an industry. We are uniting people, because if 5,000 people watch this podcast, they're uniting them. When I do a tattoo convention, I'm uniting an industry. When I do a festival, I'm uniting people. So bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that it's our mission in life to be able to be vehicles to connect people with same interest. So, man, it's been a great conversation. I think, dude, I love you so much. You know, you're my brother. Thank you for just sharing some of your experience with our audience. I really admire you. I love you. And I just wish you the best, man. You are one of my favorite guys in the planet.
Thank you, man. Igual tú, 100%.
Te amo, cabrón. Bueno, esto fue el Negocio del Entretenimiento Podcast. Síguenos en las redes Sparkof TV, Sparkof Magazine. Go to sparkof.com, download the sparkof.com. Si le das a Plus, el área de Plus, puedes bajar todas las revistas que tenemos con las carátulas de las portadas y las historias de muchos de los empresarios más importantes de la industria. Suscríbete también síguenos en Spotify, como El Negocio del Entretenimiento, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, you name it, tu plataforma de streaming favorita, puedes conseguir este audio. Sparkof TV, suscríbete también a nuestro canal de YouTube y nada, comparte este contenido. Check it out. Jafet Santiago, Johnny, Palace, Julca in the house. Check it out. See you. Peace. Go. Bo.